With tourism to the United States under Trump already plummeting, this is not going to help. Headline: Amnesty International and rights groups issue a World Cup travel advisory for the United States. Quote, the group said the advisory was necessary in light of the deteriorating human rights situation in the United States and in the absence of meaningful action and concrete guarantees from FIFA, host cities, or the U.S. government. Donald Trump himself has said that federal ICE and Border Patrol agents will be swarming World Cup host cities, including Los Angeles.
When it comes World Cup time, and we're going to have to force ourselves upon them, which we have the right to do, because we don't want to have any crime, we don't want to have any problems for the Olympics and the World Cup.
Even before the travel warning, which cited Trump's aggressive surges of federal agents, international tourism to the United States was already down dramatically.
Tourism to the U.S. is on the decline. The U.S. is set to lose $12.5 billion because of it. Traveler spending here is already down 22.5%.
Tourism spending is down double digits. The number of international visitors as a percentage is down double digits. And the Trump administration keeps making travel to the United States more cumbersome.
The Department of Homeland Security says it plans to require visa-free tourists from dozens of countries to provide a 5-year social media history in order to enter the country.
Now, with the travel advisory to the United States, the tourism disaster may get worse. And the World Cup was already a tourism business disappointment. Here's part of the reporting from Forbes.
The heads of hotel associations in 3 World Cup host cities, New York, Philadelphia, and San Francisco, told Forbes they have not seen a World Cup surge in demand so far. Quote, the tea leaves are showing us that the demand the World Cup was meant to drive isn't materializing, at least right now.
Last year, FIFA, the global governing body for football, or soccer as we call it in America, projected that millions of international visitors for the World Cup would give the United States a $31 billion economic boost. But that demand has not materialized, forcing FIFA to cancel tens of thousands of hotel rooms in host cities. 11 U.S. cities will be hosting matches during the World Cup, scheduled from June 11th through July 19th. But now there are headlines like this. Trump chill hits World Cup demand as panic hotels slash rates. Lior Seckler, chief commercial officer at hotel operator HRI Hospitality, told the Financial Times the Trump administration is partially to blame for the slump. Obviously, people's desire to come to the United States right now is down, said Seckler, pointing to the unrest caused by Trump's war in Iran and his hardline immigration crackdown.
Airline bookings made in January and February for the World Cup host cities in June, when the tournament begins, were down 5% from Europe compared to last year, down 3.6% from Asia, and essentially flat from South America, according to Cirium data.
In other words, even though the United States is hosting the world's most popular sports event, a tournament that usually attracts millions of spectators, airline reservations for June are down or flat compared to June of last year. The Trump administration appears to be trying to hide the problems from Congress. The Commerce Department, which is required by law to give annual tourism projections to the Senate Appropriations Committee, has so far refused to give those projections for this year. Several senators, including Maryland Democrat Chris Van Hollen, suspect it's because last year's report was wrong.
The report that was released in March of 2025 projected that international tourism in the United States would increase 6.5% in 2025 and another 10% in 2026. And that did not happen in 2025, did it?
That did not happen. One of the reasons we're so excited about the mega events heading to the United States is because we are expecting a very strong 10-year record of travel and tourism.
Please just answer the question. So you, I don't mean you personally, but the department projected a 6.5% increase in tourism in 2025. That did not happen, did it?
Correct.
Okay. In fact, I have a chart here that we asked the Congressional Research Service to put together based on the Department of Commerce numbers. In other words, we took your numbers and this is the chart. And if you look at June 2024 through December 24, you can see the international, these are actual, this is not projected. You all projected 6% increase. This is actual. you can see what they were, and then you can see starting right in this period, they start going down. In other words, right after the president was sworn in. And you can see, I don't know what that one little blue thing, but you can see a steady decline. I mean, not even close to 6%, negative. So can you understand why many of us are concerned that statements and actions by the administration are going to depress what we hope will be a good amount of tourists coming here for the World Cup? Can you understand that concern given these numbers and the wrong projections?
Well, Senator, I think you'll be happy to know we had a 3.5 increase in March, and I would expect that we will continue to see growth over the next decade. This is really an amazing opportunity for the travel and tourism industry with these major events.
Senator Van Hollen then highlighted the main concern about this summer's World Cup.
Obviously, tourism will go up when you have the World Cup. The issue is whether it will go up according to expectations, like in Kansas City. We are investing hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars in protecting this. We're over on. So I just want to make sure that in the end, in addition to the excitement, as I said, I'm a huge soccer fan, this is a good deal for the American people. And that means making sure that we maximize the economic benefits in places like Kansas City.
But it may be too late to maximize the economic benefits in all the U.S. cities hosting the World Cup. The Trump administration is not changing its aggressive immigration enforcement policies. The war in Iran has not been resolved. And now the United States has been slapped with a travel warning. Granted, it's from Amnesty International, a human rights group, and not a government or government body. Still, thanks to Donald Trump, the United States is perceived across the globe as an authoritarian and dangerous society where visitors could face violence at the hands of federal agents. Football and soccer fans may love their sport and love the World Cup, but their hatred of the United States under Trump seems stronger. And so the World Cup, which is supposed to boost the United States, is turning into a nightmare.